Hi, and welcome to College Planning Untangled, where we help the lives of our families that are thinking about college. I'm Kristin Clark. I'm a career exploration coach for 16 to 26-year-olds, and I'm here with Bobby Hood, our ACT, SAT pro. Bobby, how's life treating you today?
Just great. Busy season is over. We're getting into summer. Juniors getting ready, rising seniors still prepping, getting ready to start on their college essays, and then rising juniors working on getting ready for the ACT and the SAT this fall.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So, I am fixing a technical problem. So, you want to start talking about our gap year or go time?
Yeah, absolutely. So this is that time for the rising seniors. They're going to need to send out college applications this fall. And some of them, the conversations at the house might be, hey, do I really want to do this? Right. But they might be scared to say that to their parents. Right. And so you're running into that risk of, as we've talked about so many times, if you don't, uh, if you go to college and you're not sure what your major is going to be, you're not sure what you're going to do, you're not sure you really want to be there, that's when college can end up taking 5 or 6 or 7 years, right? And that's the percentages. So many students don't continue after their first year. So many students are taking 6 or 7 years to graduate college. Maybe you need a gap year, right?
Well, and Bobby, this has changed. You know, this
Mhm.
this idea of the gap year used to be this, oh my gosh, my kid's never going to go back to college.
Right.
And really since COVID, and I get so tired of talking about COVID anymore, but the reality is since COVID, the idea of a gap year I think has really taken on new meaning.
Hmm.
And that is that, you know what, it's a year. Get over it. It doesn't mean that your kid's not going to go back to college. It really means that, they might just not be quite mature enough to head off to college. And as a parent, I think you have to look at your teen and just say, are they ready? Because
Absolutely.
we're going to go back to our facts. I love my facts. And, we know that 30% of kids that go off to college don't make it to their sophomore year.
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I always like to remind parents, what does that year look like? You spent 2 years taking all the tests, doing all the research on colleges, doing the applications, all the stuff, right? And it's a lot. Then you had to go tour schools. You did all the dorm room, getting that all ready. They go to school and they get there and it sucks. They don't feel like they're in the right place. They feel out of sorts. Classes were too hard. Whatever the thing is, then they have to think about coming home and telling you. I mean, it's just a bad situation all the way around. If
Absolutely.
if your kid's not ready, they're not ready, and it's not a
Right.
sign of you failed as a parent, they failed as a
Right.
kid. None of that's true. It's just they're just not ready. And this idea of a gap year and giving them a chance to get a job, kind of find themselves, understand
Absolutely.
who they are, it's not a bad thing anymore. It's a
But
coming of age.
absolutely. And I mean, it is, if you are not emotionally prepared for treating college like it's work, then it's one thing. Like, I think it's easy for, the people who are Gen X age and millennials to say, oh, back when I went to college, you could kind of just slop your way through it and it didn't really matter and you could get a job. That's not how things work anymore, right?
No.
And so we might have been able to get through it without treating it like a job, but now, and even back then, the people who did, they were way far more successful, right? And we may think that we slopped our way through it, but really we did work hard enough to get through it and do well. And there were lots of people around us that were quietly dropping out too back then, right? And
Yes.
back then,
Yes.
when you
It's
did
not
that,
a
it
new
didn't destroy
number.
you financially,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, this is not a new thing that's happening, right? But it wouldn't destroy a family financially or the student to go in and rack up, $50,000 worth of debt for a year of college that they're not going to use, right? And so that's part of the thing is recognizing that when a student says, "Hey, I'm not ready," don't just say, "Hey, just go. You have to go," right? have the conversation, talk to them about it.
Yeah. And here's what's interesting is I talk to lots of families that the student will take the year off and they will go back to school and they will be super successful. So
Yep,
taking that year off
absolutely.
is not the kiss of death.
Oh,
And
not at all.
because here's what else happens when a kid takes a year off. They do see their friends heading off to college.
Right.
They have the conversations with the parents about, okay, your friends are going off. I know you kind of feel left out. They're working a job and they're having, some good conversations at home as to what do you truly want? And having that time to think about what do I want as far as a career? What does that look like and what's it going to take? So if it takes college, then that's back on the table.
Well, absolutely. And so this is the other piece of that, right? Is so spending a year now, certainly spending a year where you're working at a job, right? That then can prepare you so well for going and treating college like a 40-hour job too. And then you're going to be very successful. And like, I have a relative who did that, who spent a year working and then saw all of his friends in college and then decided to go to trade school, spent a year and a half in trade school, then has this amazing job and is now, his friends are still just finishing college and he is off making a very, very healthy sum of money with a management track and all that stuff, and so yeah, so it's absolutely can not just you aren't ready, but it can make you ready in some really good ways, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the message truly is parents, don't be afraid of it. Have some really good conversations with your student before they head off to college. And you as a parent, I think you kind of know, Bobby, if they're ready or they're not, but have the
Sure.
conversation with your kid to ask them, do they feel ready or not? And have the conversation about, let's think about what that's going to look like when all your friends are heading off to college. And all of this, by the way, is okay. It's all okay, but have the tough conversations to say, let's look at both sides. What's it going to look like? What's it going to feel like? Are we okay with it? Here are the pros, here are the cons. And then you can decide what's next. And I don't even know if I told you this, Bobby, but I'm actually starting a parent lab where,
Yes.
where we can talk through how to have these types of conversations so that you know how to have the conversations at home with your kids.
I think that's really, really important, which is, yeah, absolutely. Parents, these conversations are hard to have with other parents because they're going to just tell you how great everything is for their kid, right? It's hard to talk
That's
about
for
these things,
sure.
right? And also, if you want to start this conversation with your kid, this is a great time to have them work with you on strengths coaching and choosing a college major. I know you've got classes going on this summer. And so go and figure out what is the work that's really going to light up your eyes and make you really passionate. Is that work that you need a college degree for? Is that work that you don't need a college degree for, right? Start that process and then find out, okay, is that a college degree and are you ready to do the work that is associated with that, right? It's hard to have these conversations when you don't know what college is going to be. It's just going there to make friends and just pick out a major after a couple of years. That's not going to work so hot, right? And so that's why if you're not sure, first thing, as we always say, it's all about just talking to your kid, right?
Yeah.
Starting the conversation, listening to what they have to say and not just telling them what they have to do, right? They're adults now, or they're about to be adults. It's time to respect their ideas and talk to them. And that's it.
Yep. All right. Well,
Great.
good conversation. And we'd love to hear from, families. So guys, Bobby's always available. I'm always available. Give us a call. Go to our websites. We're available.